Hello there, Chris Kallal, I'm Territory Agronomist for DeKalb Asgrow. Today's Friday, June 21st, so it's the day after the summer solstice. So wanted to talk a little bit about soybean flowering and when that typically starts, and talk about why sometimes we see soybeans that flower ahead of the summer solstice. So we're standing here today in a soybean field of early planted April beans. I believe they were planted April 10th. And you can look at these beans, they're about shin high, and you can pull the canopy back and there's a lot of flowers, a lot of blooms on these plants. And again, yesterday was the summer solstice. Typically, soybean flowering is initiated after the summer solstice. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about why do we see beans that flower ahead of the summer solstice. So if we put a graph, and this would be the hours of daylight, okay, and so and then this would be time or day, if you will, on the calendar. So if we were to graph this, and this is probably an over exaggeration of the graph, but let's draw a bell curve, right? So June 21st would be right here. This would be, or June 20th, that's the summer solstice, right? At 3:50 yesterday afternoon, I believe, was the summer solstice. So we are maximizing, this is the most sunlight we will have in a single day all year, okay? So typically what happens after the summer solstice and after the nights start to get longer again, a soybean plant will recognize a critical period of darkness, and it will flip from a vegetative stage of growth to a reproductive stage of growth. And let's say I'm like a 2.7 maturity bean. That might happen about right here on the curve, okay? A 3.3 maturity bean might be a few days later. It takes them a little bit longer of night period to initiate flowering. And then let's say a group 3.8 soybean might be here, okay? So as those daytime hours get shorter, the number of sunlight in a day gets shorter, and the nighttime gets longer, these plants will trigger to flowering. Well, what most people don't, what sometimes we've forgotten is that, right, the opposite of this, or the reciprocal of this, happens over here as we approach the summer solstice, right? So that same 2.7 bean reaches this critical period ahead of the summer solstice. And that's why, because it senses that, and as we've pushed soybean planting dates earlier, the soybean plants are recognizing that critical length before the summer solstice, and we're initiating flowering ahead of summer solstice. So, and one of the things, right, I mean, you've got to have flowers to put on nodes, or I'm sorry, you got to have nodes to put on flowers, you got to have flowers to put on pods, right? And yield comes from all those extra nodes and extra pods that we've got because of this earlier planting. So one thing that some friends of mine at another company did actually is they looked at how long do soybean plants stay in each growth stage based on planting date. And what they discovered is, and let's say this is kind of hypothetical, but let's say you planted, let's do like the April the 10th. And then let's do like May 10th, and let's do like June 10th. And again, this is all hypothetical, but it'll help drive home the point. So let's say that April 10th planted soybeans might be in flowering, or R2, for somewhere around 40 days. And that's probably pretty real, because I actually had a customer that I work with pretty closely send me a text on May 25th of a picture he took of some beans that were already flowering. That was a month ago, that was 4 weeks ago tomorrow, okay? So let's, and those beans are gonna stay flowering for quite some period of time. So let's say April 10th planted beans flower for roughly 40 days. May 10th planted beans may only flower for about 30 days, and June 10th planted beans may only flower for about 20 days. This is part of the secret of why earlier planted beans are generally so much better, is because we have more flowering, and those flowers turn into pods. So hopefully that helps clear up why we might be seeing flowers on soybean plants ahead of the summer solstice, and where some of that extra yield of earlier planted soybean comes from. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a good day, and thank you for your business.